Okay, let's moedeke geschmackje sicha that the Rebbe said, and a maime behemshech, and another sicha behemshech to this. So the time is short. Let's get into this. Shloishim yom kodem hachag, Chag Pesach, even though it feels outside like Hanukkah. The Alter Rebbe is brought in the beginning of the Rebbe's Haggadah that he had a studio apartment. It's called today.
Every year I ask the same question. What takes the whole
And it took him a whole night to do B'dikas Chometz. And in the morning, at the Yikumen Tzagantz Pshat, so most of us have a bigger house than the Alter Rebbe.
And we do it less than a half.
So Mela, we have to start looking for Chometz, making our house Pesach the Shloshim Yom Kodem Chag. Just like the Alter Rebbe, obviously we're talking about Ruchnias here. If the Alter Rebbe needed to search a whole night, so we could start Shloshim Yom Kodem Chag.
1 room, 10 feet. Makes no sense.
So Mela, there's a shaykhs to this very Gishmak and Maimer, and 2 sichos. We'll do one tonight, and one Sunday night. The Rebbe Moedeke Biur in the Yerushalmi, and this Yerushalmi that there's a connection between Parshas Parah and Parshas Chodesh to the 3rd and 4th koises. Just like we have 4 parshyos that we read before Pesach, the 4 parshyos are connected to the 4 koises. So let's get into this. Okay. Talmud Yerushalmi, it's the Gemara Megillah Pei Gimel Alocha Hey. The Mishnah says B'Shnia, the Parsha Rishona is Shkolim, the Shnia is Zocher, Shlish is the Parah Aduma, the Revi is Chodesh Zalachem. Chamish is Chodim Lekesidim. Okay.
Also, Parah has to do with this week Parsha.
This week we're reading Parah, right?
But I'm saying it has to do with the Parsha that we're reading with
exactly. Tashgocha Pratis, exactly. Zog the Gemara, Rabbi Bo B'Shem Rabbi Chia Bar Avashi. Bencher, here's a copy for you. Zog the Gemara, Rabbi Bo B'Shem Rabbi Chia Bar Avashi, Mafzikim Ben Purim LaPorah. There's no hefsek between Purim and Parah. In other words, between Shkolim and Zochor, there could be a hefsek. But there couldn't be a hefsek between Purim and Parah. Ben Purim and Parah. Rabbi Levi b'Shem Reb Chizte Bar Chanina, Reb Chia Bar Chanina, Ein mafsikin no, Ben Parah la Chodesh. He says there can be a hefsek between Ben Parah and Chodesh. Amr Rabbi Levi, Simon and the Elaine parshyos, a simon to know this is bein hakoises alolu emrot shalishtes yishter meshlish lerevi lo yishter. The four parshyos are connected to 4 koises, and between the first and second kois, between the first second kois, you're allowed to drink.
Between the first and second, we don't drink.
And we don't. Our meaning is we don't drink.
Only between the second and third.
But between the
halacha, but between 3 and 4,
everyone agrees. 3 and 4 you can't drink. Good. Mitzvah Shem will talk about this on Sunday. A moedeke geschmack beer from the Rebbe. What's the connection of the 4 koises to the 4 parshyos? And we're like, this is a Gemara, and the Bible doesn't argue with this. What's the connection between the 4 koises and the 4 parshyos? I guess very moedeke beer from the Rebbe. Well, as I said, we'll do it Sunday. Let's continue. Rabbi Levi b'Shem Reb Chama Bar Chanina, Bedinu shetakte machodesh l'Parah. Really, it should be first Parshas HaChodesh and then Parshas HaParah. Why? Because that's the way it was. Shebechad b'Nisan hukam HaMishkan. The first day of Nisan, they put up the Mishkan. Ub'Sheni, the second day, Nisan for HaParah. They did the Parah Aduma. Why did they do it that way? Because the Parah Aduma has to be Al Pesach Oil Moyed. So first you have to have an oil moyed that'll have a door, and then you could do the Parah Aduma, and you could do the Azoah Saddam, Keneged Pesach Oil Moyed. So the first day of the month, Be'echad B'Nisan Hukam HaMishkan, and the Sheni was Parah Aduma. So L'chayre Ebazoi, if the Be'echad B'Nisan, so the Ebazoi should be first, HaChodesh Hazeh Rosh Chadoshim, and then there should be Parah was second. Why is a Parah first? Shehi Taharasan shall call Yisrael. It's a Tahara of all the Yid.
What's the answer?
What's the pshat? What's the answer? All the Meforshim say, and it's burned in Rashi Megillah of Chavtes and the Rif and then Yaakov, that the pshat is that in order to do the Korban Pesach, you have to go into the Beis HaMikdash. Going into the Beis HaMikdash, you have to be Tahar, and therefore, if you are Tama, you have to first
Tahar yourself.
Tar yourself. How do you matar yourself? Parah aduma. So therefore you're laying first parah aduma to remind the Yidden to be matar themselves. And then you were laying Parshas Chodesh to remind the Yidden to go buy a Korban Pesach. Why do we read Parshas Parah? To remind everyone to go make themselves Torah. Why do we read Parshas Chodesh? To remind everyone to go buy a Korban Pesach. So it makes sense to read first Parshas Parah to remind them that they have to go spritz themselves b'shvi, b'shlishi, b'shvi, and then after that we remind them to go buy a Korban Pesach.
Did they do this while the Beis Hamikdash was standing?
Yeah, I mean, vice versa. Otherwise, what's the
right?
What's the point?
Exactly. I mean, I was saying you could say it's like Zecher L'Zeh.
I mean, the original Takana didn't that Torah.
It's like washing after the Tisa. They didn't do it during the time. Everyone didn't do it during the time of the Beis Hamikdash.
No, but the Gemara Baba Kama says the original Takana, Moshe Rabbeinu and Yeshua, and this. I mean, the Takanas of Kriyas Torah they go back a long time.
Right. Mincha we read because of Ezra. No, Mincha Monday, Thursday, and Shabbos. Mincha is because of Ezra Sefer.
The Moshe, Yeshua, Ezra. I mean, there were, whom were attacking what, but it goes back.
Right. Just,
So l'chayda, you're right. Exactly. It must be if this was after the Beis Hamikdash. It makes sense. It was before the Beis Hamikdash. Right. There's Man Beis Hamikdash. They used to read it in the shul to remind everyone to go be matar themselves, and then they used to read Parshas Chodesh to remind everyone to go buy a Korban Pesach.
But didn't say Ezra Tiken the Torah? It's not from the time.
I don't know who was mataking.
No, he was just specific reading again. And on Shabbos, everyone read.
Medrash Rabbah probably was Anshe Knesset Agdola. These four parshyos is probably the Anshe Knesset Agdola. Medrash Rabbah Perek Yutes Beis. This Medrash Rabbah is brought in a Maimer that Rebbe Rashab, and Mitzvah will do a Maimer on this Medrash by Mincha Shabbos. Yili bitom bechukecha. What's chukecha? Zog the Medrash zeh. But let's we're holding Medrash Rabbah Perek Yutes Beis. Yili bitom bechukecha. What's Pshat Yili bitom bechukecha? Zeh chukas haPesach. Bechukas Parah aduma. What's chukecha? The Eibush is chayk. What's the special chukecha? These are two chukim. Chukas haPesach and chukas Parah aduma. By Pesach it says the word chayk, and by Parah aduma it says the word chayk. These two mitzvahs are chukim. Because these two mitzvahs are doime. So therefore, means these two chukim. Which chuk is bigger? So the answer is a mashal to two queens. I don't know, matrona means a queen, a matrona means the psachosh of a woman. They were both walking together in the street, in the marketplace. Neither Shava, so the two matronas, you don't know who is more choshev? They're both walking with fancy mink coats and fancy jewelry, so you don't know who is more choshev. And the answer is, Oisa shechaverta, malava oisa ad beisa, v'hoylechas achadeo. This is the bigger one. That if one of them walks her friend to the house, and then she goes back to her home, so the one that was going home first, that's the more chashuv one. That's why the first one accompanied her to her home.
Maybe she lived closer.
We grew up in Crown Heights, and the minute of the used to go out looking for very chashuv, but it's still good. But they went home to dinner.
My pleasure.
In the fact that they wanted to look good, look chashuv in the outside.
The Jews the other way around.
I don't know. I hope.
Continue. Kacha Pesach nema boy chuka ubepara nema chuka migdoila. Who is bigger? Hapara. The Parah adum is bigger. She'echle Pesach tzirichin lo. The Parah adum is bigger because the Eichle Pesach can't eat the Korban Pesach until they first do the Parah. Shneimar, it says in the pasuk. Velokchu latomei ma'afas reifes achatas. Heavy kol ben necher lo yochel boy. So therefore, first you have to tire yourself, and then you could go to Korban Pesach.
So what's the proof that he's better?
There's a proof that this is bigger because it's first.
It's first.
It's first. The proof is bigger. The matrona went out first. So I mean, the shaila is what? This is first. I take a shower before I go out in the morning. First, I can't go out in the street before I take a shower. The most choshevet is the charanaya. The most choshevet thing I did in my lifetime is take a shower. Charanaya is the first thing I did in the day. It's incidental. It's a sort of samaniya. In order not to go out filthy, you brush your teeth and you take a shower. The samanta, that mean that's the most choshevet thing in the day. Just because this is first. Just because the matrona, what maybe like he said, the matrona lives first. What's the raya? And what's the emes in avodas Hashem? And the bigger shaila is on the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says that Kol Yisrael need this first. Oh yeah, Kol Yisrael. Only the people that are tamei need it. Number one. Number two, fakert adarabah. If Kol Yisrael are tamei, even Roiv Yisrael are tamei, do they need to do Parah Adumah before the Korban Pesach? No. If Roiv Yisrael, maybe even Mechza, of Shakvatari, but if Roiv Yisrael,
You could do it without.
so if Kol Yisrael Atome, you could do it without.
So it's not approved.
Yeah. Kol Yisrael Atome, and so Ibazoi, what's a pshat and what's the diuk in the Yerushalmi? Shehi Taharoson Shel Kol Yisrael. If you say Taharoson Shel Yisrael, you want to remind the Yidden that Atome to go. But the Yerushalmi is medayik that it's first. It's not just a technical shaila in Yerushalmi. Why the Yerushalmi says that Parah Adumah is Taroson Shel Kol Yisrael. L'chayr, if Kol Yisrael Atame, they don't even need the Parah Adumah. It's not just a technical shaila in the Lashon. The Yerushalmi says that's the reason why we do Parshas Parah before Parshas Chodesh. Why do we do Parshas Parah first? Because Kol Yisrael, if it would have been only miut of Yisrael, we could do it otherwise. Of course, Kol Yisrael tzrichim law, but it's not true.
Parah Adumah is to do with the Parah that Bnei Yisrael did in Chet HaEgel.
Beruchnis.
No, Gashmius, Kol Yisrael did Chet HaEgel, but this Parah is in Parah.
But the shaila is what's the pshat in the Yerushalmi.
Well,
The
maybe-
Yerushalmi says the Parah kademeshi Taroson Shel Kol Yisrael. If Kol Yisrael were tamei, they wouldn't need it. So
the
why?
question is-
And this is the reason why it's mashma from the Yerushalmi.
Dafka this
If miut of Yisrael, we wouldn't be so concerned. But because Kol Yisrael need it, so therefore we have to make a big deal out of it because it's negate to Kol Yisrael.
Can you say possibly that even though people that aren't being taught don't need the tahara, the fact that people are that are samech on them, the ones that need tahara, therefore they also need it? So maybe all Klal Yisrael means that the roivam, that the Inyan of Pesach is to do the roivam.
So if Klal Yisrael were tamei, it wouldn't be a problem. They could do it tumah.
Right. I'm just.
You're saying Kol, even if the miut is tamei, so the Kol Yisrael need the miut.
Yeah.
They don't even
To
need
be
the miut.
united, in other words, you
It
need
says
to be
Sela
united.
Bayis, right? The post
Yeah.
says Sela Bayis. They used to do the Korban Pesach.
This is in the
Rabbin.
shliach,
Right.
chabura.
Right. They didn't do it each one by themselves. It's a mitzvah to do it like the rabbin. So every person that they add to it, you're adding to Kol Shemai maybe.
Okay, so that's why it's Kol Yisrael.
It's a problem because
Kalabatish.
One cannot do with the other, in other words.
Yeah. If one person is tummy, it's like all Klal
all of
Yisrael.
it. So even if Klal Yisrael Tehirim and only few,
Right.
it's like we all
It's like we're all tummy. Right.
And we all
Raven.
is even the one that Torah is not Torah 100%.
Exactly.
So
but
both
the
ways.
Korban Pesach is a problem. If you have leftover, you're not allowed to leave it to the next day. You have to throw it
Actually,
out.
though, we saw that the Pesach Sheni was for the people that couldn't bring the Korban Pesach. Why was that?
They were tamei. Misha
No,
told
they
them
didn't have a
to
chance.
do
Why didn't they do the Parah Adumah?
Oh, whatever.
Torah.
They
Maybe
didn't
it
get a
was because it was
chance.
the
Or
day before. It wasn't enough
exactly, it
time.
wasn't their fault. Maybe it
But they
was.
weren't there by Parah Adumah.
You know, why weren't they
Certain
there?
time they make a Parah Adumah, right?
No,
Everybody
it
would
was
come.
always the window was always open, 24/7.
Parah Adumah was done in a certain time in the
No, it was always there. That was one of the
ashes. The ashes.
The ashes.
You can take it
There was
anytime.
always a window in different places, and the one
24
part of the
take
money. I don't know, 24/7, or maybe it's 24/6, or maybe it was 12 hours, 5 days a week. But part of the money, one of the things that the money went, that the
Tzarchet
Bezin
Tzibur.
collect Tzarchet Tzibur was
It's
this
Parah Adumah.
for the window. They had a window. They'd have a guy standing behind the window,
Yeah.
and he would get paid a salary to stand there.
And
It's just like you have now in Frum communities. You have a community service Like you have next to the Koilel grocery store or in Crown Heights next to Sterling Electronic. There's a mikveh, community mikveh. Kayla mikveh.
Lando had
Yeah,
one.
Lando, exactly. So Lando grocery store. Those days they used to have a window.
For Parah Aduma.
A guy used to stand, a kohen used to stand behind because he didn't want to get close, otherwise he can get tummy. So it would be a chaloin. He would stand there, he'd have a bucket with water, he would be Makadish with the offer, the big bucket of water. And he would stand there with a big like broomstick, like the handle. People would come and he would spritz. They would pick up their kalim, spritz, and it was always wet there on the floor.
So we're going to see
It was always slippery on the floor. That's the way the Gemara describes it. Bismana said they have these rubber things. Mashiach will come. They'll probably, like in the mikvahs, have these things that you don't slip.
Oh, we
So
got built
Mashiach-
there and we wouldn't need it anymore.
When Mashiach will come.
It's not going to be that
In the
anymore.
beginning, people.
At the beginning.
First time we're going to
Shmulik, the halachas of Tumah V'Tara are so complex. Even say today, some Lomdash yeshivas, they learn Chodshim, but no one learns Taharas. Because why don't they learn Taharas? The Taharas is very complicated.
It's hard.
Like we're learning Nahilchas and Tilas Yadayim. It's very, very complex. So you think Mashiach will come and one day we're all going to know. It'll take us time. We're going to learn. You have to get used to it. It's not going to be easy. Getting used to the halachas of keeping Tumah V'Tara, this is not going to be from the easy stuff.
But doesn't understand that
Unless-
Mashiach will come, will be Ve'aver Torah Tumah Navaret. So once you don't have Tumah, everything you had is clear to learn.
Ich verstehe, but in Golas we're Tommy May, so we're going to have to
Right.
become Torah.
Once you Torah,
And we're going to
once,
have to
that's
learn
it.
a ton of halachas. Okay, we don't know how it's going to be. Maybe the Rebbeinu Shalom will just press a button. Maybe he'll put in the CD. He'll put in the USB. And press a button.
48X.
The Erev Rav, the Alter Rebbe says, they're going to have to spend a lot of time learning the halachas of Tumah V'Tara because they're going to be very liable to become Tomei. The Erev Rav. But the Yidden are not going to become Tomei. But that's the whole length of time. Right when Mashiach comes,
Still need to know.
we're going to be very busy getting ourselves tired. Everything in your house today is Tomei Mace. You have a scissor, you have a nail clipper, you have a thing to put your shoe, your shoe, a shoehorn. What do you have? What do you have in your house? Whatever you have in your house, Mr. Tomei.
Everything's plastic.
Oh, so we'll ask to have Bezdin. What's the din of plastic? But the nail clipper is not plastic.
Plastic.
Okay. So, Abazoi, so the Rebbe has a Bordek Yisoid. What's the question is, what's Pshat? Why is Parshas Parah before Parshas HaChodesh? Yerushalmi and the Medrash both say Pshat. And the Shaila is, why really is it, what's the Pshat there? Yerushalmi says, because Kol Yisrael need it. What do you mean Kol Yisrael need it? If Kol Yisrael were Tamei, they wouldn't need it. If Kol Yisrael were Tamei, they wouldn't need it. They wouldn't need it. Dafka, they wouldn't need it. If Kol Yisrael, obviously, the Rebbe says, and we say here, the Parah Aduma is the Tahara of Kol Yisrael. We don't only mean Begashmias, that the spritz from the Parah Aduma. We mean a different type of Tahara. We mean a type of Tahara that every single Yid, man, woman, and child needs. And what kind of Tahara are we talking about? So Zok the Rebbe, that a Yesoid, that the Parsha Parah Aduma is the Parsha for the Baalei Tshuva. It's for the Baalei Tshuva. The Parsha of HaChodesh Zelachem, that's the Parsha for the Tzaddikim. HaChodesh Zelachem is the first mitzvah. Chodesh Zelachem, the Yidden went on Mitzrayim, Gershon is Gaish, Kikot and Shadel. They were like children, they were just born. A child is a tzaddik, obviously. There's no how can a child didn't have Aveda, they're just born. So Chodesh Zelachem was the first mitzvah, had to do with Yitzias Mitzrayim, had to do with the Korban Pesach, as Yidden were born as a nation. It's Avodas Tzaddikim. Chodesh Nisan is Avodas Tzaddikim. That's why the tziruf of Yud Vovke it goes frontwards in Nisan. Nisan is Avodas Tzaddikim. Tzarlach Yosher. Tishrei is Avodas Baalei Tshuva. That's why Tov Shin Reish. It's backwards. Nisan is Chodesh Aviv. Aleph Beis. The Yud Vovke goes Kesidron. Here it goes. Tishrei goes the other way around. Tishrei usually we say is Baalei Tshuva. Nisan is Tzaddikim. Tishrei is Baalei Tshuva. But Parshas Parah is also the Inyan of Baalei Tshuva. Why is Parshas Parah Baalei Tshuva? What's a Parah Aduma? This week's Parsha with this Lechet Egel. So the Eibishter said that the Rashi brings in the Parsha, there was the Chet Eitzadas. And then came Matan Torah, and the Zoma of the Eden were cleansed. Came the Chet Egel, and the Zoma of the Eden came back. Comes the Egel and cleans up for the Parah. The Parah cleans up for the Egel. So that's what's up Pshat Beruchnius. So Beruchnius is two nekudas here. First, it starts at over Pasha. What's Misa? Misa is the opposite of Chaim. Atamat veikim b'Hashem alekeichem, Chaim kulchem b'yoyim. When he is dovik to the Eibishter, there's full of this fields is full of life. And a Yid Rachmana l'Islam feels far from the Eibishter. He feels spiritually not alive. And that's begashmis. Why does a person die? Because they're meruchik from the Eibishter. Even at Tzaddik Gomur. So there is a fade. The Gemara says that there were a few people that they had no sins, but they died because of the Chetei Tzadas. Not the pshat that they were suffering for someone else. It was in them. And that Izal said on the famous hesped that he made for the Moshe Kardavero for the Ramak, that the Talisa Oisalaitz, that when you see a person dies and you don't know why he died because he was such a tzaddik, Talisa Oisalaitz, you should be toilet on the Eitz Adas. You should be toilet on the Eitz Adas. So the whole Inyan of Parah Aduma is the Inyan of Tshuva. The whole Inyan of Parah Aduma is the Inyan of Tshuva. And what kind of Tshuva? Not a regular Tshuva, a spectacular Tshuva. There's two things in Chassidus that talk about, one in lekuti Torah and one in the Tanya. What does he say in the lekuti Torah? What did you think? He says that the whole mitzvah is to burn it, and then the ashes, you use the ashes. Why? The Alter Rebbe says, because the ashes is the essence of the thing. The table has Eish Ruach Mayim Rofa, it looks very big. When you burn it, it comes down to the Efer and the Offer is the same thing. It comes back to the Yisod Offer. The essence of a Yid, what's the of a person, of a human being, Nefesh Bahamis, the Behemoth. He has a lust for pleasure. He has a draw for pleasure. So there's nothing wrong with that. A draw for pleasure is nothing wrong. Mr. Yid makes a mistake. He thinks that a bottle of beer and a steak is pleasure. But after he eats it, it's like, it's like on the macht agrebts, it's finished. There's like nothing left. and that's it.
Then you go to the bathroom.
If he just know,
And you have another steak and a beer.
and that's the kirchturm from the nose. What can you do? But if a Yid really knew what real pleasure is, he could live a different life. The problem is that the Nefesh of Bahamis thinks and makes a mistake. But the Inyan is that if we burn the tziyur of the Nefesh of Bahamis, and then we reconstitute the ashes into Mayim Chayim, so it would be a different thing. The Yid takes the energy of the Yetzer Hara, of the Nefesh Bahamis, and instead of it should desire only Taiv, it should desire Kedusha. That's the type of tshuva we're talking about. That's the biur in lekuti Torah. And what's the biur in Tanya? The Alter Rebbe wrote a letter to Reb Lev Yitzchak Baditchev, very good, because his son Reb Meir passed away as a young man, and he had incredible agmas nefesh. So the Alter Rebbe wrote him a letter. He says that the din is that that the korban is called a chatas. This it's called a chatas, but it wasn't a regular chatas. It was done chutz of sholosh machnas. So why was it done chutz l'sholosh machnas? And on the one hand, you have to spritz the blood, noichach pesach oil moyed. That's why they built a special ramp from the Har HaZeisim because he has a big valley. From the Har HaZeisim, they would build a ramp. Could you imagine? For 9 Parah Adumas that they did, not all of them were done in Eretz Yisrael. Today they'd have Mashiach is going to come. They're going to have to.
It's an unbelievable bridge.
Right,
Look at the picture.
right. That bridge will not cost. It won't cost you $1.99 to build that bridge. It's going to be the construction will cost you in the millions.
They built such a bridge for that tram.
No.
They built them out.
They're going to build a bridge.
Now they're
Keep
paying
it on
theirs
Gabi.
money. Soon they won't have to pay theirs any money.
Exactly. They're going to build it. Keep it on Gabi Pippin because it has to be that they come with the Parah outside the Sholosh, but you have to do it noichach. Alter Rebbe explains because in the base of Mikdash you bring a korban. Why do you bring a korban? If you do an aveda b'shoigig, If you did a made it b'meizit, there is no carbon. Why is no carbon? It's not going to help. Carbon chatas only helps for avodah b'shoigig. If a person does a avodah b'meizit, not going to help. So, but the Eibishter says that I have an eitzah for this yid. This yid is like spiritually dead. A yid doesn't have avodah b'meizit, he cuts himself off. He's spiritually dead. Torah doesn't have an eitzah for him, but the Eibishter has an eitzah. Go outside the three machinas. What's outside the three machinas? It's so far away. It's sholosh klippas atmeyas, and over there, there's such a strong tshuva. It's such a strong tshuva that the zedoinus itself turned into zechias. So a regular tshuva could not make an aveda into it. There's nothing you can do. Aveda doesn't turn into a mitzvah. But this powerful tshuva of the Parah Aduma, that a yid feels so far from the Eibishter that all of a sudden he's yearning to come close. So that type of tshuva brings a yid close to the Eibishter, and it's mahapach even the shalosh klippas atmeyas. That's the power of the Parah Aduma. Therefore, it's called a chatos on the one hand, but it couldn't be done inside the Beis Hamikdash, which is a place of kedusha. Can only elevate klippas noiga. But the power of the Parah Aduma is to elevate shalosh klippas atmeyas. Alter Rebbe then wrote that that's of misason shel tzadikim is compared afke to Parah Aduma. Why is misason shel tzadikim compared afke to Parah Aduma and not to a korban chatos? Because the power of Parah Aduma is not only to be mahapach klippas noiga, but the power of the Parah Aduma is to mahapach shalosh klippas atmeyas. The Rebbe explains that what's the pshat of this tshuva? The pshat of this tshuva is like this. Tshuva is not about guilt. It's not about fault. Why is it not about fault? Because if it was about fault, Taka Arosha has fault. He does Avedas. Or he thinks Aveda. Abeinani, we say Alavai Beinani. But Abeinani also has fault. What's the fault? That he has to, he desires things that are against the Eibishter's Rotzen.
But he wins.
He wins.
He doesn't do anything, but
a tzaddik doesn't even desire.
Right.
So what's the fault? What's the tshuva? Chassidus says that Mashiach osal asovet tzadikaya, but the Zohar says, and the Chassidus osal asovet tzadikaya b'tiyufta. The Mashiach's chidush is going to be that he's going to have that tzaddikim will do tshuva.
what does it mean?
What does it mean? Why did the tzaddikim have to do tshuva? They did nothing wrong. So the Rebbe says that a tzaddik also has bechira chavshis. There's no such thing a tzaddik doesn't have bechira chavshis. Tzaddik has bechira chavshis? Yes. What does it mean he has bechira chavshis?
Ein tzaddik shelo yachtaj.
That besides ein tzaddik shelo yachtaj, they could do against the Eibishter's Rotzen. So the fact that a person could do against the Eibishter's Rotzen means that there's
because you have the cholet to do it.
Like he has the cholos.
That itself you have to do.
So that
actually they go against the Shem's Rotzen by not working as hard as they could.
Oh, and then there is
a tzaddik is going to have a bechira where he's going to learn Mishnayos or
even Bisman Hazeh.
So that's his inside. That
He's doing tshuva today.
But even
why
Bisman
yesterday I
Hazeh.
wasn't better.
Why wasn't
Today
better?
he's doing tshuva.
Sure.
Why yesterday I wasn't better.
Sure.
Constantly
On a bigger thing, because the Chazal say, "Kol mi shaloi nivna beis hamikdash b'yamav." This is the big Yerushalmi that the Rebbe brings in the Maimon about the Tzara. Kila nechra b'yamav. So even a tzaddik has to say that. So even as the tzaddik. So Mela, a tzaddik realizes, and even the person that Arizal says, "V'talisa eretz aleitz," doesn't mean it's not. So it's not his fault, but it's a fault. But it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's why they had Tumas Meis. That's why there's Misa. So the Indian of tshuva is not guilt or fault. It's the Indian of bitterness. It's a merirus of how come. You know, my Baba used to always say, "I'm old." Just like Yiddish is rich with sayings, "Chob dir im bod," you know. So, "Eise bitter and sefinster." What's up, Shah? Eise bitter and sefinster. It's an old Yiddish saying. The situation is not good. It's not. The situation is bad. It's merirus. That even a tzaddik feels that this is a bitterness. Golus is a bitterness. The fact that he can do against Rotzna Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's shayach. That itself is a raya that something is not good.
What's he doing against the Shem's will?
He has bechira chavshis shayach that he would do against the Eibishter's Rotzna.
But he doesn't have any tivus.
He doesn't have, but it's shayach that he would do against the Eibishter's Rotzna.
Why would that make him Mariras?
Why would that make him merirus? Because that's a shayach that he should do against the Eibishter's Rotzna. That is a certain dichuk from the Eibishter.
Why is it? But I'm saying, what's the shaykhs if he doesn't have the pull to do it? So why is it shaykh?
But it's a bit shaykh. That's
He
the
was
quality.
made a human being. I mean, why is?
That's what I'm saying. It's not an union of guilt or fault. It's a fact.
Right,
It's a
but why-
certain richuk from the Eibishter.
Why?
Why did the
That's why it
Eibishter
was
make that?
made.
Oh, the Eibishter made it because the Eibishter wanted that the Yid should have a feeling of merirus.
That what? That it could be that he has a bechira to do something wrong.
Yes. Not
But he's
only
not-
does he have bechira, but when he does it right, he does it because he has avos Hashem. Chassidus says that the avos Hashem is yesh mishayev. Yesh mishayev means that he picks to do the mitzvahs because he loves the Eibishter. So there's the union of Yeshus, there's the Eibishter and there's him, and he picks it because it's geschmack to him.
So that's his.
So Memela, that's a raya in the eyes of a tzaddik, that there is a drichuk between him and the Eibishter. It's shaykh that he would do differently. And he picks, because he has avos Hashem, he picks to do the Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So there is a richuk between him and the Eibishter. The shaykh that he would do against, and he's the one that picked to do good. So Memela, there's a feeling of merirus. Memela, it's a feeling of merirus. And that's the tshuva that the tzaddikim are going to do. Memela, that's why Parshas Parah comes before Parshas Chodesh. Because Chassidus says that even tzaddikim, the soida avoida is avoida tshuva first. Chodesh as Elochem is avoida tzaddikim. So you might think that if he's a tzaddik, he doesn't need tshuva. The Zoya says it's not true, that it's Mefakert, Mashiach is going to make the tzaddikim do tshuva. So therefore, that's the remez in the when the Medrash says that the Parah Aduma comes first is more chashuv because avodas tshuva is more chashuv than avodas tzaddikim. A Parah is avodas tshuva. Parah Aduma is the union of tshuva. The Yidden did a cheta egel, and now they're doing tshuva. What is a chodesh azelachem? Avodas tzaddikim. Chukas ha-pesach is avodas tzaddikim. The first mitzvah the Yidden got when they were born as a nation. When did they get the mitzvah of Parah Aduma? When they did the cheta egel. That's when they were bali tshuva. So bazoi, a person might think that if he's a tzaddik, he doesn't need tshuva. So the answer is everyone needs tshuva. Kol Yisrael, says the Yerushalmi. This is the tahara that Kol Yisrael tzrichim. We're not only talking about Gashmis, the tahara of the spritzing, the efer achatas. We're talking about beruchnis, that the Yidden, we read the Parshas Parah right after Purim, Shloishim Yom Koyim Chag, when we're going to do Bedikas Chametz and get rid of our Yetzer Hara. So we remind, even before we talk about that, number one, the Medrash says that the tzaddik, that the Baalei Tshuva are more chashuv. Like the two queens. Who's more chashuv? The one that goes first. The one that goes first. The Baalei Tshuva are more chashuv than the tzaddikim. And not only the Baalei Tshuva are more chashuv than the tzaddikim also need to do avodas tshuva. And that's what the Zoya says, that the chiddush of Mashiach is that he's going to make that all the tzaddikim are going to do tshuva.
How come Mashiach doesn't have to do tshuva?
But he's also going to do tshuva. If he's going to make all the tzaddikim do tshuva, he's not going to do tshuva.
So in other words, that's how he's going to make them do tshuva, because they're also doing it. By teaching them that they think that they didn't do, that they were perfect, the fact that they weren't Meriris, that they have in their values an ability to go against Rosh Hashanah, even though they don't really ever feel the pull, but it's hovering around them some type of Yechelis. So there he's going to teach them this word.
Yeah, but you're right. Obviously, it has to start with him.
There's a story
Is
with
it shaykh to say that Mashiach is going to tell all the tzaddikim to do tshuva and he's not?
No. I mean, he can do anything. You know? There's a story with
It's not
Shmuel.
Mustav. It's not Mustav.
The story with Shmuel and his brother Pinchas, and they were learning in an attic, and they used to learn days on end. And Pinchas they were talking learning, and Pinchas asked Shmuel a shaila in the pilpul that they were in the middle of. They were in a deep sugya, a difficult sugya. So Shmuelka said, Shmuelka said, I'm too tired. I can't. And he went and got a pillow from his bed and put it on the floor. He fell asleep on the floor. He was just too tired to even go on the bed. He just pulled the pillow and a second later, Pinchas takes the pillow and he's on the Shmuelka's head and he starts slamming him on the head with the pillow. He says, you shaggers, get up. What I do? He says, get up. Why? He says because if you had enough koyach to go get the pill, then you had enough koyach to answer me. With that koyach that you went to get the pill, you could have answered me my shayla. So I'm saying that that maybe there's tshuva even just in the fact that tzaddikim didn't work hard enough till the last ounce of strength, or they learned chumash when they could have really been learning Gemara. I don't know. So why is that? And if it's still tzaddikim, it's not you can't say it's a Yetzirah to want to learn chumash, can you?
Tzaddikim is that tzaddikim have that chidush of the Yerushalmi is that also tzaddikim have to do tshuva, whatever that tshuva is, and that voidus of tshuva even by tzaddikim comes first. There's more choshev. Yeah.
But
There's another this thing about that tzaddikim doing the tshuva, doing the tshuva themselves. That
this is
the beginning of from creation, with the Kelim and then the sin of Adam Rishon. So the world separated from its original shorish, the original pure state, where Christine stated it was. And even though it's not our fault,
No, I'll give you. Me and Rabbi.
just the way the world is. Still, so we have to go back to Teshuva to return.
Yeah, excellent.
These are from Matthews.
Exactly. Emes v'yatzav enoch. Exactly.
Right?
So the Rebbe says that's the pshat in the Remes and the Yerushalmi that they say that Kol Yisrael. We're not talking only about the tahara, the physical tahara of the Parah Aduma. We're talking about the tahara of the tshuva of the Parah Aduma, and that's a behekrecha achona to avoid us at tzaddikim because it's more choshuv. That's the first thing that has to be. That's the matronisa, the first matronisa.
When we start the shiur, we're saying that Kosh Sheni, Kosh Shlishi has to do with this. What has to do with Kosh Sheni?
Next Sunday. Because the time, there's another sicha, and the Rebbe says that this is a shaykhis really with Chodesh Nisan. Because there's a machloikis, when does Mashiach is going to come? The machloikis is the between Nisan or the Gemara Rosh Hashanah. Yeshem Nisan, Yeshem Tishrei. So the halacha is, the Chassidus says that it's a machloikis, and that the Medrash says b'stam that b'nisan asidim legol. That means that the Medrash paskins that it's a nisan. So b'meila the halacha is that in nisan. Why does the Chassidus have to say there's a machloikis? You say b'nisan asidim legol, because when you say there's a machloikis, it's like similar to what the Rabbeim said. Why did the Alter Rebbe have to be in jail? Because it was a kitzur in Chassidus. So why have to be a kitzur in Chassidus? Because there's a strength. The Friedrich Rebbe said, when there's a shtar, it's kosher. But you have an eater against the shtar, and then you're mekayim the shtar is stronger. The same thing the Baal Tshuva. Because the Baal Tshuva already did something and went away, and then he did Tshuva, it's stronger. It's stronger. So therefore, we want to say that this Indian that B'nisan Asidim Ligoel is not the pshat that there is taka machloikis, and that's the halach. It says that you didn't have to do tshuva before Mashiach comes, because we're going to have both milas. The Yidden are going to be tzaddikim and also going to do tshuva. That's why, as we're going into Chodesh Nisan, we read first Parshas Parah and then Parshas Achodesh.
All this will be hard to extend the first part.